It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. Now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hey everybody, what's happening? It is 4th of July weekend Eve, Friday Eve. It's the Thursday edition of the Geno Show. Please like, share, and subscribe to the Geno Jones channel right here on YouTube. I come to you live Monday through Friday, live 6:30 p.m., right around 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 p.m. in Chicago, 3:30 p.m. out on the West Coast. Once again, like, share, and subscribe. Tell everybody you know to like, share, and subscribe, because the hottest news show, it is just simply, Tina Turner said simply, the best and the baddest new variety show in the entire universe, solar system, galaxy, whichever one is the biggest, all three of them. That's what we do. And feel free to also share and tag these episodes on your social media pages on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, even, screen grab like 60 seconds of some of the show. Put it up on TikTok, on Instagram, and you can put it up on Twitter, wherever, all right? So let me get right into it. So let me just get this out the way for the record today. The Trump Organization and the Trump Organization's chief financial officer indicted, 15 counts, grand larceny, tax fraud, tax evasion. Now, dude was not individually indicted, charged, but his company and his chief financial officer. Let me just share this with you. Al Capone. All right, maybe if you're like under 40, you're like, who's Al Capone? Just Google Al Capone. Probably the most notorious mobster, mafia leader in the history of this country. Chicago mob boss way back in the 30s. Was responsible probably for thousands of people being murdered, and was never charged, never went to jail, never spent one day for the murders that he was responsible for. How did they get Al Capone? They got his accountant. They got his chief financial officer. And Al Capone went to jail, not for being a mob boss, not for, sponsoring or being a part of or ordering hits on rival gang members or whoever. He went to jail for tax evasion. The IRS doesn't play. And actually, it's not the IRS bringing charges. It's the state of New York and New York City, the Letitia James sister, no nonsense, and Cyrus Vance. They're the Southern District of New York Federal Court. So we got that out the way. Now, let's go back. Everybody's still talking about the aftermath of Bill Cosby's sex assault conviction being overturned yesterday by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, basically because a prosecutor, this is what the Pennsylvania Supreme Court basically said. Because Bill Cosby made an agreement, was offered a deal from a prosecutor in a civil trial, that deal couldn't be overturned. So you made a deal was made with the prosecutor here in the state of Pennsylvania. So once the deal is made and signed off on, the deal can't be reneged on. Now, there's a lot of questions because people say, well, we never seen this deal. Where's a copy of it? We haven't seen a deal. We haven't seen a signature. But the judge, the court, I think it was 3 judges that voted on this decision. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court said basically, listen, there was a deal with Mr. Cosby that if he cooperated with prosecutors in the civil trial, then he could not be convicted. He would not in the future be facing any kind of criminal charges if he cooperates in the civil case. That's the bottom line. It's been a lot of feedback, a lot of scuttlebutt. You have some people like Felicia Rashad, who played Claire Huxtable with Bill Cosby on The Cosbys, who basically had words of support. She said a miscarriage of, basically, I'm paraphrasing, it was a miscarriage of justice, and it's been corrected. So she's got a lot of feedback. People are even calling for her new job, basically, for her to be fired. The position that was offered to her to be basically rescinded, taken back. As a matter of fact, Kelia Karson and I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Now, Felicia Richard is a dean at Howard University, dean of fine arts, I do believe. So, the aforementioned Kelia Karson, let's bring her on camera because I'm really curious to get her take. Ladies and gentlemen, my co-host, once a week. Listen, I look forward to this day because normally we're like a comedy duo. Part commentary, part stand-up comedy. But ladies and gentlemen, once again, the incomparable Kelia Karson. Key, how we doing?
What's up? Hi, Geno.
So
I don't know if everybody can see. I have on my different world.
I see it.
Shirt in honor of the topic today.
Yes, that was one of my favorite shows.
I love this. It's actually, I'm going to try to show, it's got the faces. Let's see.
Of all I see, yeah. There's my man with his hat.
Yeah.
I loved it. That was one of my favorite shows. So listen.
Mine too, and it still remains.
So I tell you
Jumping into it.
Yeah, I want you because, and I'm pretty sure you will probably go somewhere to where I want to jump in. Well, let me just set you up. Let me set you up, Key. So let me do this.
Set me up. You already set me up. Because I'm getting ready to kick this screen in.
For me, there were 2 points I really wanted to just emphasize. I did it a little bit yesterday for those who didn't see the show. But I just want to emphasize these points for me, point of emphasis, and you can take the long form. So I want to address men once again.
Okay.
No means no. Stop means stop. I don't care. Well, she came up to the room, and man, she came up to the room, and all of a sudden she had on just with a trench coat and nothing on, and she took it off, and we was hugging and kissing. But then all of a sudden she was like, nope, I don't want to go any further. But she was, DT, you know the term, guys back in the days, oh man, she was, well, this is not broadcast TV, dick teasing. I'm just going to call it what it is. None of that is important. Stop means stop. Whenever she says stop, I don't want to do this, means I don't want to do it. No, whenever, even if you're in the act, but all of a sudden if she says stop, no, I don't want to go any further, that means stop, no, don't go any further. And second, Felicia Richard. I know Felicia's got a lot of heat. And I'm torn, Key, so I think this is where I'm going to throw it to you because when I thought about Felicia, her defense of someone that she's known very, very well, because I've heard some people, well, how could she not know it? Well, listen.
I want to break that down.
Yeah. And his real life wife said she didn't know. Now you're saying, how's that possible? Because it's actually possible. I had a conversation with my mother last night. She said, Jeannie, a lot of times the wife is the last to know, is the absolute last to know. Folks, well, how? And because people are good at hiding things. Listen, all you got to do is turn on Lifetime, the Lifetime movie channel. How many movies have you seen where this guy seemed like he was an upstanding citizen and bank president, CEO, white shirt and tie and suit every day with a briefcase, and had a whole secret life, a second wife and kids in another city, and the first wife never knew about it. So, listen, I'm not with, hey, we got, Felicia Richard should lose her job. Howard University should fire her. They should rescind the position. And listen, and let me preface this, or that whole train of thought. I want to emphasize. I want to share something. I don't know how many people got to see last night's show. anyone that knows me, anyone that's been watching this show knows that I'm a huge advocate against any form of violence against women, period. Domestic violence, sexual violence. I got permission to share this story last night, Key. I got permission yesterday. A couple years ago, I learned, my mother actually told me that she was a victim of sexual violence. She was raped, not once, twice, when she was, I believe, in her early 20s, by people who she knew, who she thought were, quote unquote, were, friends, associates. So you're not gonna find anybody or any man that is more sensitive, and I guarantee you, Kelia can back me up, because Keila's known me for almost 30 years now. We've worked together. We started working together back in 1995. So, I was thinking, I'm like, because I want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, and I'm saying, what if there was a bunch of women who accused me of something, but Kelia knows me like few people do in terms of just, knowing me for years, working with me in situations, really getting to see who I really am. I know that Kelia would always give me the benefit of the doubt. She would be sensitive to any, whatever allegations were made, and I feel this might be presumptuous, Key, but I know the kind of relationship that you and I have in terms of what we think about each other as people, really knowing who each other, and I know the kind of person you are, who believes in giving almost anybody the benefit of the doubt. So when I look at Phylicia Rashad, I think about the type of friendship that you and I have. So it's hard for me just to really come down on her. I'm like, well, hold on, guys. Let's just, before we want to cancel everybody, let's just take a deep breath. So I'm gonna let you take it from there, Key.
Okay, boy. Okay, that's a lot to unpack. So let me.
If anybody can do it, you can.
I can do it. So first things first. I'm gonna go way back. Hand clap for Alan Weisselberg being charged. That's the Trump lawyer / accountant, tax. He's been a member of that circle for all of Trump's life. I think he was even with his father.
The daddy brought him in. Yeah, he's not a lawyer, but as an accountant and CFO.
As an accountant. And so it's about time, because, and I know he's older, as Bill Cosby, or Peel Cosby, as I call him.
That's good, Key. I've heard a lot of jokes. I've had a few myself, and some of the best comedians, but I have not heard that one. Is that original? Do I have to invoice you? Is that original? Is that yours?
No, I saw some a writer in an opinion piece, and I thought, oh, that is excellent. So like I said, I am taking that.
Okay.
But I know Weisselberg is older, like Peel Cosby.
Not quite that. He's 74, actually, but that's still up there. Yeah.
And I get, some people's sentiment about, oh my goodness, what good is it going to serve? Listen, I don't care if you walk in the jail and fall out dead. You need to serve the time. What's that old Loretta song? If you can't do the time,
don't do the crime.
Then don't do the crime. Yeah. So enough already. I am so glad we're done with that. Now, to Peel Cosby, and you wanted to address the Phylicia Rashad issue.
Well, I just wanted to put that on the table.
Yeah,
and so start where you want to start and go wherever you want to go.
We'll start there and work our way through this situation. Phylicia Rashad, we know that just weeks ago, not even 2 months ago, we're talking like maybe 6 weeks ago, if that, she was named as the dean of the Fine Arts College at Howard University in Washington, D.C. When you take a position like that, one of the things that you must learn is how to keepeth thy mouth shut or hire professionals to speak or, kind of go over what you want to say before you say it.
Gotcha.
You should know that. Felicia has been an entertainer for years. So my thought is that she was speaking from the heart.
Yep.
And not thinking about her position. Right?
I agree, because she did.
Okay.
It was somewhat of some people are calling it a retraction.
Well, I'll get to that.
Okay.
All right. So, Bill Cosby, they decided, okay, we're going to overturn this conviction because this was not fair. His rights were violated. He was promised a deal, and it was rescinded. And then because of that deal being rescinded, he was then tried and possibly convicted because of statements that he made during this civil case. Mm-hmm. Everybody caught up? I hope you are, because Keela tries to break it down. So something he said during a civil case was used against him later on in the criminal case.
Right. In a deposition.
Right.
Actually, the deposition was from the lawyer of the woman who the charges were based on in a criminal trial, Andrea Constance.
And because of and we'll step a little further back. The reason why the criminal case was difficult is because it was so long ago and blah, blah, blah. But that does not prevent you from then attacking someone civilly. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, you explained it well.
And so that's a route some people have to take because they may not get anything done in a criminal case.
Your statute of limitations, sometimes
that's
some states, there's what they call statute of limitations. You have so many years, and after, depending on the state, after 7, 10 years, 20 years, you can no longer convict someone of a potential crime, something criminally, because that time period to charge that person has expired.
And by the way, states are now looking at that, and some states have said, okay, there will not be a statute of limitations on rape or, other sexual violation crimes. Okay. So when Felicia made the comment yesterday and all the, glee from the Cosby camp, her words were, finally this this miscarriage of justice,
vindication,
has come to an end. I can only look at what's on paper. That's what she said. Now, she later not retracted, but she later smoothed out that comment because Black Twitter, is always on the job.
Yeah, they are. Even when you don't want them to, they're on the job.
Listen, this is people on Black Twitter waiting on you to say something.
24/7. Okay? Key nodding
right
Key nodding at 3 in the morning, nodding like
right. This. Oh, somebody said something. And so as soon as she put it out there, Black Twitter said, "Oh no, you didn't."
Wait a minute, Key. They already got it saved in their draft. They're just waiting for somebody to put something up so they can press send.
Right. And then they hit the screenshot too to make sure that if you delete it, they still got it. So it's screenshot, then send, and share with their community. Mm-hmm. Now, one of the people that got Felicia, which we're going to talk about, is Janet Hubert.
Now,
who is the mother of, she played the mother of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Will Smith, yes.
I had to choose between my shirts today. Was I going to wear my Fresh Prince shirt or my Different World shirt? I chose my Different World shirt.
I'm on team. Listen, I was happy for Will, and I like the Fresh Prince, but I'm with you. I'm on team Different World. I'm just
different. Yeah. So Anyway, we'll talk about that too. So Felicia then went back and said she understands sexual assault. She knows people. There are people close to her that have been through it, and on and on and on. And that she hopes that they find healing, in their recovery. And any victim, she sends out her heart and she sympathizes with them or empathizes with them. So here's the thing. I don't know what happened with Bill Cosby. I don't. I wasn't there. But where there's smoke, there's fire.
And when there's 60 fires.
Well, and let's just say some people misunderstood, but it can't be that many fires and something's not going on. Bill Cosby, out of his own mouth, said, "Oh yes, I used Spanish fly."
And in the deposition, the attorney, Andrea Constand's attorney, specifically, almost verbatim. So you admit that you used Quaaludes.
Right. So I call them Spanish fly,
right.
But it's the same thing. Right. Spanish fly, Quaaludes, rubies. The one they call it today is ecstasy. It's all the same.
And Bill Cosby said yes.
Yes. But he said it was consensual. And so here's where the slope starts getting slippery for Kelia. Okay. Consensual? Okay. Now, I don't believe that for 1 minute. Now, maybe it was in some cases, somebody might have said, "Oh, yeah, Bill, because, people want a little, and let's be grown, people want a little enhancement to get it going. I get it, right? Some people use drinking in that way. Some people use marijuana,
cocaine.
Yeah, some people watch porno or right. Okay, this is what adults do. But I don't believe all those women said, "Okay, I'll take a Quaalude, Spanish flag, whatever it is, to get this on." And even if they did, Mr. Cosby, you're a man of power. You know why those women were there. They were there to get a leg up. They were there to get a job. They were there to get their career on and popping. That was wrong. So even if they said yes, you slime ball, you had a wife at home. Let's not forget that. You had daughters who want to get their career going. Do you want them popping Molly, Quaalude on somebody else's couch, Mr. Cosby? So shut up. And Felicia, I love you in terms of your career, but you shut up too. Because the least you could have done was shut up. That man is wrong. And I don't care who he said. He was wrong. Whether they said yes or not, he was wrong. He was taking advantage. It's called Me Too. So all these women trying to get a job.
It's a good point, but let's go to the Felicia Rashard part. So, do you feel that she should lose the position at Howard University?
Now, I'm on the fence because I haven't had enough time to really think about it.
Right.
And look at it. Because I think it was a moment of passion. And Felicia was lucky. She didn't have to enter his world on the couch.
That way, yeah.
And once she entered his world in the way that she entered, because he seems to treat certain women differently, if you know what I mean. Do you know what I mean, Geno?
Well, well, no,
Women.
just
Okay, let
be
me explain what
specific.
I
No, be
mean.
specific, because and
Look at the women who have complained against him. They were more of the model type.
I got you.
You
Okay.
follow me?
And there was a power
The
dynamic.
Thank you. The
Felicia was,
women,
yeah.
there were not women that were testifying that were more like his wife, the socialite, educated.
Good point. Oh,
Do you
I
follow
got you.
me?
I completely follow you. Yes, I do see that pattern. That's a good point.
Thank
Younger
you.
who were aspiring
Yes.
to basically listen. They wanted a
Yes.
break.
Yes.
They were aspiring actresses or
Yes.
whatever. They wanted somebody who was very powerful. Now, and we need to put this in context for those who may be under 40 just watching. I mean, and I said this last night, Key. So you had a black man in the 80s, in the 1980s, who had a television show, not on cable, on regular,
NBC.
right, on regular network TV that was number one for years. Bill Cosby was America's dad. Now,
Right.
let me say that again because I want you, for point of emphasis so you can get it. Can you imagine anybody, even in 2021, a black man on a sitcom on network TV, and the show is so popular, and the show was number one probably for close to a decade, to where he was viewed by all of America, black, white, Hispanic, in the most racist redneck areas of America. Bill Cosby was viewed as, oh, he's not black, he's Bill Cosby. He is white people would say, yes, Bill Cosby is America's dad.
Yes.
So I'm trying to get you to understand the
Right.
level of popularity that this man had. And
Right.
Keela, with that popularity, just imagine the amount of power.
Me too.
This is a man that, and there's a lot of talk that, part of the reason that a lot of these charges were brought against him because he wanted to buy NBC, a black man wanted to buy one of the three major television networks in the 80s. So I'm making that point, Keith, to say, to really just to kind of buttress and amplify the point that you were making, the power dynamic between the women who were victims and Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby was just, that power dynamic was just overwhelming.
I think he comes from a culture, and I'm
No,
I'm getting ready to lay it out
no,
for you
that's how we do it.
because he comes from a culture of education,
Temple
and
University.
yep, and he comes from a fraternity, band, because he was a band member. Okay, you may not understand this because you're not like into the Divine Nine Greek thing and all that.
Yeah, I never pledged, so
But
I don't know it
but
intimately in that way. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
but even the band is like a fraternity.
Oh, absolutely. That I do
I
know.
mean,
I got friends that went to Grambling and
yes,
and the HBCU, so that part,
that's
I
right.
completely understand.
It's no joke. He comes from that culture. And so men in that culture tend to treat women in that culture differently than they treat women. Do you follow me?
But for those
So
who don't,
Felicia from Howard University, she is I believe an AKA member.
so she's a member. Yeah, she is
Yep.
a sorority sister.
Yep. Yep. You follow me?
So, and for those who
So
don't understand,
he wasn't going to ever introduce that side of him to her.
Right.
Because that's not what men in that culture do.
Good. I just wanted us to make it clear so people
Okay.
who don't understand, the culture, not familiar with anybody
Right.
that's
You
in a
have to
sorority or
understand
fraternity, that
women,
in a
we
sorority,
are,
a black sorority, black men in a black fraternity will view a quote unquote sorority sister differently
yes,
than a black woman who's not in a
yes,
sorority. Now that's
yes.
interesting, Key.
And not just sorority, but that collegiate, educated.
Okay.
Do you follow me?
Certain profile.
HBCU.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Certain profile.
Right. And if you noticed, the women they were not in that category. And so that is why Felicia was never going to be, he would never reveal such a side of himself to her. Gotcha. And to women in her. He could never let her tell that story.
And that would explain
because she would have been believed.
Right. And let me just jump in here. That would explain for those who say, well, how did his wife not know? Because Camille fit the. As a matter of fact, didn't Camille go? I think she went. I'm almost certain Camille went to an HBCU.
I'm not sure, but she is definitely highly educated.
Yes.
And highly involved in philanthropy. So, he's not going to cross those lines. Okay. Yes, and let's get real. Women tend to know when their man is cheating. And that's not the question that was asked of Camille. The question that was asked was, did you know he was drugging women? I think she knew darn well her husband was cheating. That's the difference.
Right.
I don't think she knew because
she didn't know that he was drugging and raping women, quote unquote.
Listen, women will lie to themselves sometimes. I mean, lie to their friends sometimes. But you always have that feeling inside when something ain't right here. So I don't believe for 1 second she did not know Bill was cheating.
So is that women's instinct that we hear about all the time? Where
I can't. Well, our instinct and the other stuff, the other clues that come along with it, because you know your man, his habits, the way he moves and grooves, and so you turn your head. Every now and again, every couple of years, you might have it out like, I'm sick of this. And you know, oh baby, I'm sorry. Here's a car.
Here's a new car. Whatever. Here's a new diamond ring.
Exactly, the apology gift, and you keep it moving. He do it again. He lie again. You argue. And it's a cycle until either you can't deal with it no more and divorce him, or you just resign yourself to, okay. All right, this is what it is.
No, I'm glad you kept it real, Keith. I mean, it happens sometimes. You find out, you a father? You got a baby?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I think about Fences. The storyline of Fences.
That's right.
Viola Davis.
He had a whole nother life.
and then so he dies.
And defended it.
And guess who stuck taking care of the child? Because the mother was like, "Hey, you can have it. You made it. We out." And then Denzel's character dies. Hate to ruin it if you haven't seen Fences.
Oh yeah, and then she has to be the parent. This is
some other woman's child, and her husband, the man that made the baby, he died. He's dead.
Listen, as we're talking, there are women finding out about babies, other women,
spouses. What?
Whole other families.
Oh, well, we've been married for 20 years, and isn't that supposed to be illegal? Polygamy?
Right. So I don't think Camille was in the dark about his infidelity. I think she was in the dark maybe about the way he was enjoying his infidelity with the pills and all that stuff. Now, Felicia might have meant that she's happy that the miscarriage of justice of him being charged and convicted based on that deposition, she might have meant that, but that's not what she said.
Right.
Howard University came out swiftly and said the position of
The views of Felicia Rashard do not represent Howard University, basically.
Basically. I mean, they said the position of individuals that work here do not reflect our policies. And that's a bad moment when your employer has to come out publicly. So I'm sure they are going to be looking at this and checking for the temperature of the public, checking for the temperature of the student body, checking for the temperature of the alumni association that gives the money. The people who, the organizations that give to them, and make sure that they have all those awesome programs and is a benefactor of all of those groups. They are checking the temperature right now to see how many of those are saying, oh no, you got to get her out of here. And then they will make their decision, because that is the bottom line with higher education. And for most things, you follow the money. And if the money starts to look like it's getting funny because of her, then they will nicely find a way to ask her to go, because there are too many women and too many supporters of women and too many supporters of the Me Too movement at that institution for this to go unnoticed. And I am sure it is the number one topic on the campus today.
So
we'll see.
Yeah, so we had to predict, because I'm thinking, because Felicia Rashard
she's so loved.
So yeah, that's the point I'm trying to make, is that she has so much equity, Key. I'm trying to frame it in a really simple, easy to digest way.
It's called PIA.
Yes, her receipts in terms of the goodwill that she has, and the work that she has put in, social justice. I mean, she supported, I think her and Denzel with some of the people that got together, God rest his soul, native of South Carolina, Chadwick Boseman. They saw something special in him, and when he was at Howard,
said, hey, she was the one who
tuition.
She called Denzel and asked him to help him. Yeah. And so that is why, but your PIA, pain in the ASS factor.
Yeah.
PIA. When that is out of proportion with your value, when your PIA is not matching your value, you're out. So I don't care what good works you have done. When you are now a liability and not an asset, because she came in as an asset, her being there meant, more money to the Fine Arts College. Her, all this association, all of her, not only entertainment friends, but political friends and philanthropic friends.
Right.
You bring all of that with you when you become a dean. And to have a high profile dean like hers, that's cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. And then you go and say something like this, and now it's a debit, but they're withdrawing money.
How much of a debit? I just in this case, I'm just speaking in this case alone, because I'm sure that I don't have the stature. I don't travel in Felicia's circles. I'm not in her social circle.
Geno, I'm shaking. I'm about to fall over.
Let me finish the phrase. I'm certain that there are some very powerful people who are going to give Felicia the benefit of the doubt, because even with the tweet, I didn't get the sense that she was being insensitive to victims of rape. I think, now this is just my take. I hadn't had a
That's not,
conversation with Felicia.
but it's by default. If you're
No, and I
supporting,
understand, and I get
and
that.
so
But
all I can tell you is that it depends on the person with the checkbook. And alumni association, I don't know where they are with it. It depends on the, listen.
I get the point. My thing is, I know
colleges gave back the money that Bill gave them because they did not want to be associated with him anymore. Do you know how huge that is? That's huge.
I get it. I just, for me,
when Spellman says, thank you, no, we don't want your money.
And Spellman is, so let's unpack all this. You're right. Now, Spellman is in a unique situation that's even different than Howard. And they both
all
are
girls,
HBC.
all women.
There you go.
Right.
Howard's situation is different. And it's even with that, Felicia comes in, a lot of powerful people. I'm sure some of those donors, I'm sure there's a camp, and you're right, I'm sure there are conversations, and there've been conversations and direct DMs, direct messages, and just like the conversation that we're having, that Felicia has her camp of people who believe in her and don't think that she was necessarily being insensitive in that moment to rape victims. She may genuinely believe that the Bill Cosby that I know, and Key, you made a very important point early on. She can say, I've worked with him for 10, I've known him for 20, 30 years. We work together 5 days a week. And I never, not only did she not see that behavior displayed with her, she didn't see it displayed to anybody else. Now, you did a great job, and thank you. You did a great job of explaining and articulating all the reasons, many of the reasons why she probably didn't see that side.
Right.
So,
but the problem is you didn't have to see that side. A man who cheats on his wife for the benefit of liaison with all these women who are seeking help in their profession, even if they said, let's do it, Bill, let's pop this Molly, let's get it. What's that all about, Felicia? That's abuse of power.
Well, but I'm saying if she didn't see this side.
Yes, but now he has admitted to having these relationships.
But
so
if he's holding on to this was consensual, and
I'm a married man, but I'm telling you, Felicia, that I consensually cheated on my wife with women who were trying to get a leg up in the industry. What?
I get that. Listen, but none of
how is she supportive of that?
No. She doesn't have to be supportive of that one incident. Okay, we talked about scales.
One.
Hold on. Well, you just talked about scales. You talked about the pain in the ass factor versus, the assets that you bring in terms of, how much money and financial support do you come with. That's why I use the relationship that you and I have. So any situation, we would give each other. I mean, I can reverse it. Somebody could say something, did you know Key did this, that, and the other? And there would be a pause if it was, to me, out of character, because I'm like, okay, let me.
But we're not talking about that, Geno. We're talking about to his admitted.
No, I'm just, well, what I'm talking about is that Bill, in a deposition, he said, yeah, I admitted to giving women quaaludes to have sex with them, but he said it was consensual. And I haven't talked to Felicia. I'm just saying that the friendship that they have and the fact that, and you articulated this point well.
But Geno, if you told me it was consensual, and I'm like, Geno, these women were sleeping with you to get a leg up, you and I gonna have a problem, Geno.
Yeah, but that's one thing. But consensual and okay, hey, we're gonna go ahead and get high and so, put us in the mood, as opposed to I'm drugging women to rape. There's a gulf between.
I know, but Geno, what I'm saying is she doesn't have to believe the rupee part, the drug part, even knowing that he was doing this consensually with their permission should have outraged her.
Well, yeah, but think about when he admitted that in a deposition. That was, what, 2015? I mean, this is decades after the Cosby show was off. So I guess the only point, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, the reason I'm giving Phylicia Rashad the benefit of the doubt is because she saw one side of Bill Cosby. His wife saw another side, even though I'm sure she probably had an inkling that, okay, yeah, I think my man, like you said, my man is cheating.
But I think we're talking about two different things. I'm not talking about what she knew and when she knew it. I'm saying today, So why are you supporting this mess?
Well, she's supporting
you didn't know back then, but to tweet this miscarriage of justice.
Well,
what?
Let me just say
Shut
this.
up.
Let me just say this. For whatever reason, Kelia, and I would love to have this conversation with her if I could give her some truth serum, and I have no reason to believe I never met this woman.
Yeah, I think she doesn't believe that it happened.
Yes, exactly. I think that
which means she doesn't believe all these women, which says to me that you have a block when it comes to Bill.
Now that's yes. I'm with you there.
And for that, Howard, I will not give a dime to until maybe they think about this.
I'm sure there's some people like that, but
that's going to be the problem.
But I'm sure
your alumni associations and the people who write the big checks, and a lot of them are women.
Yeah, but what about how many? A lot of them could be women and men who.
No. I'm talking about the culture of the charitable organizations are usually run by women.
Yeah, but then you have a lot of individual donors, or they call them boosters, that write huge checks.
Geno, I know this culture like the back of my.
Absolutely, I know. Yes,
every day, and I'm just telling you how this works. That women decide what checks their husbands, them big checks.
Well, and this is the interesting dynamic, like I said. So I think that there's going to be this friction or whatever you want to call it. We got to also add in the factor. So here's a black woman to get this position. Do we want to treat her differently? How many examples? We could cite so many examples of men who have said and done egregious things, way more egregious than a tweet, that were given a second chance. So then you can say, well, wait a minute, are we operating under a double standard, that we're going to hold Phylicia to a standard that we wouldn't hold a man to? We would give a man a second chance in this, in a situation like this. So why are we going to be tougher and hold Phylicia Rashad to a tougher standard than universities do for men deans and men in powerful positions?
Yeah, well, I mean, the things you're saying all sound good on paper. The problem is it depends on the day, the temperature, the time, it is what it is. Some people have been in jail for 1,000 years for selling a joint. And some people walked out the jail with a joint one day later.
And some folks commit murder and never go to jail. So
that's right. And that's my point. We had a president who tried to kill everybody in the country. So
hey, you got a president who a woman has accused him of rape. And you
Right.
had almost
On
30
his
women
way
accused
into
him.
office.
Yes. And before he got in office, almost 30 women accused him of various
Right.
levels of sexual assault, and
So
didn't
I
stop
can
them.
only honestly say to you that unfortunately we don't live in a some equal, you know, society. We just don't. It sometimes you get the short end of the stick. And so we're going to find out. And again, I am not advocating for Felicia to be removed from her position. I want to make that clear. I'm kind of out to lunch on that right now, or, you know, on the fence about that right now. But I do not subscribe to her after the fact congratulating him. And even if she felt that way, I thought she should have been smart enough to just shut up and keep it to herself. Let your PR people handle some kind of crafty statement, you know.
Yeah. And for me, Key, this is just me. For me, I wouldn't, I'm not, I don't have any problem with you using this word, smart, because, you know, we keep it honest. And that's how you honestly feel. For me, I can't use the word smart, because even though you make a legitimate point from a professional, and it's a university, but still a university, there's still like a corporate hierarchy, protocol, and setup. So from looking at it through that lens, because the university at the end of the day, they can get tagged with a reputation of insensitivity, just like Felicia has. So the university has to protect its reputation, i.e. protecting its reputation, protects its money from supporters and alumni. So I get that. So I wouldn't, it's just that I understand when you are loyal to somebody, sometimes people can be loyal to a fault. And I can't fault her, because for me, my take is that tweet was out of loyalty to somebody that she believes in and that she considers a friend. Even if it's naive, even if there's a block, which I agree there probably could be.
Geno, I don't doubt that I know that's exactly nobody, everybody agrees that tweet was from her heart. She meant to say that with all her heart. She was probably busting to get that out after, 3 years of him being locked up. Oh my God, thank you, Jesus. Here's the moment. The problem with that is, oh, really? And she should have thought, because she's been a celebrity for a long time. You should think about what you tweet, what you share and post on these social media sites before you do, especially when you're talking about something like this. Bill Cosby and the sensitivity, that is not hard to figure out, that whatever I tweet might be used against me. So let me think about this.
Excellent point. And listen, you make a great...
She did what she did and said what she said, and then she had to backtrack and explain, which is why you don't do what I'm saying she shouldn't have done.
You're right. But let's add some more context to this quickly. As an entertainer, when you, for the most part, are an independent contractor, and actors, even more so than TV and radio hosts like you and I, they have a bit more autonomy than, let's just say, some of us who may, because we both have worked for major radio corporations, so we had a lot more restraints. You know, one thing I love about having my own business and media company and this platform, I'm free to say a lot of things that I wouldn't be able to say on somebody else's media. So for Felicia Rashard to operate in that universe and to then make that segue into being the dean of a university, not having that experience, and it's something as obvious, because here's the beautiful thing, Keith.
I disagree.
We're here because I'm using you as an example here, and I'm not excusing that. Listen, what you said is correct, but my point is, when you have operated with this level of autonomy for years, and then you segue into a world, you have had both feet in both worlds. She has never
what
had
world of
her
autonomy did she work in? In the entertainment industry, that's why they have publicists to try to keep these celebrities' mouths shut. Why do you think half of them, I mean, a lot of them get thrown off of their shows and with the cancel culture because they can't shut up?
Yeah, but
because
if they're a
you
big
have
enough
a
star,
publicist.
if they're a big enough star, they can recover or come back. Somebody will give them a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth chance. But when you are working for a corporation, an institution, when you are inside that type of structured environment, hierarchy, protocol, there are things, it's just a different mentality. You've got to learn. I think this is, for her, a learning experience to where, because being Felicia Rashard, an actress, she could have put that out. Folks would have criticized it, but it's not going to affect her money, where this is a different situation.
It can. Yes, it can. Actors have been fired off of TV. So yes, it can affect your money, Geno. That's why I'm like, Geno, what are you saying?
It can, but if you are, let's go back to the pain in the ass factor.
Nick Cannon. Kevin Hart. Come on, it can affect your money.
Well, Nick Cannon's situation was different because Nick is.
But my point is, it can affect your money.
Oh no! I didn't say it. Yes, it can affect your money, but not to the level it can if you are working for a major TV or radio company, and if that's like your only gig, it's different to where if you have been an actress, film, theater, TV. Yeah, you could take some heat. You may lose, one or two endorsements, but you're going to have a lot of supporters also. So you have more options. It's like, okay, well, I'm losing this check. I might lose a couple, but I still got three more because of the equity that she's built up.
Okay, well, good luck to her. And I just want to say that Janet Hubert, another actress, mom of Fresh Prince, she played Aunt Viv. We all loved her, and was disappointed when she was affected because of a Me Too moment when Will, and her weren't quite seeing eye to eye, and he was feeling some kind of way. And basically, I'll just cut it straight. He ruined her career. He admitted it. He apologized. And you hadn't seen her since then. She was almost destitute, lost her house.
Absolutely.
Went through the ringer. She's now back. Thank God there's a Netflix show that Gabrielle Union, her and Lala Anthony will be doing. So she's working. She's also on Pose. She did episode and played an aunt to Pray Tell's character. Billy Porter is the actor. But Aunt Viv saw the tweet from Felicia, and Aunt Viv, she told her, okay.
And I get it. I don't.
Get the umbrella, because here come the shit show.
She did. And look.
She told her she was wrong. She should have. She said everybody knew. And see, this is what I'm saying about the Hollywood culture, because I'm not a part of that culture. I'm a part of the media culture. But in the Hollywood culture has its, the football and sports. Teachers have their. You know what's going on in your world. In your surroundings. And Aunt Viv, Janet Hubert said, everybody knew what was going on with Bill.
And let me just say this. Here's some more context. Because what you said, everybody knew. I just want to hone in on that.
Yes. And I know that's a broad statement.
Right, because something that you even admitted earlier. We talked about, because I talked about Felicia, but you used Camille Cosby, his wife. So Camille probably knew that there were times when Bill was out there probably seeing other women having a relationship, but what she didn't know
is the pill.
He was drugging and raping women. I'm gonna use myself as a quick example, and a lot of people from Chicago. I mean, even my mother knew and heard. Just about a lot of folks in Chicago had heard and knew things about R. Kelly. Listen, I met R. Kelly before he became R. Kelly. I met him out in Los Angeles when he was a member
Yeah,
of this group.
please don't go down that road because
Well, no, no. This is context. Just hear me out. There, in real time, you can know. Okay, something. This dude's got a thing for young girls, but do you notice? Because there's levels to this. This is not excusing anything, but people know. But you hear, you don't see, and you're like, okay, you know this. Because people to this day still are riding with R. Kelly, which you think, how could anybody be riding with R. Kelly? So, but it 15 years ago, I can tell you for a fact, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, it's 2021, 2001, nobody, I guarantee you, nobody who worked with him at Jive Records, because now or later we find out he kept most of the people who were not in his super inner circle, he kept them out and didn't let them know how the hideous and the sickness that what he was doing. You just heard, he would come to town and have an after party and all women only, and you see these women lined up waiting. So you're like, okay, but you didn't know he was torturing and kidnapping and just the level of depravity. Nobody, I can tell you for a fact, now something that I think I know, something that I know, nobody who knew him
Geno,
that had any kind of reaction.
Geno, his teacher, the music teacher, said on the documentary that she thought something was wrong with that young man and them little girls, and she said nothing. This legendary
Miss McLean, Lena McLean. Listen, I lived a block and a half from Kenwood, so I know. I would hear that. Hey, man,
now how
hanging out in front of Kenwood. But
how can she look at the camera and tell America that she knew?
But she didn't
know
know.
Was wrong.
She didn't know she didn't know he was kidnapping and peeing on girls. That's what now.
You don't have to. If you're a grown man and you got a feeling that something is wrong with this grown man being at this school, messing with these little girls, and you don't say nothing, something is wrong with you, teacher. And I don't care how legendary you are.
So let me ask you this. So what should Miss McLean, God rest her soul, have done?
She should have called the police and said this man needs to get up out of this school.
But a lot of times he wasn't in the school. He would, pull up in his car, sit
yes,
outside.
He was. Yes, he was. He was going to the school in her music class after he graduated. You need to watch the documentary.
No,
maybe
I watched it over and over
again. And they're admitting this.
I'm talking.
This is crazy.
Listen, because I didn't want us to get sidetracked, but I'm trying to this is the point I'm emphasizing. Look, I'm not excusing this.
Ignorance. Because that's what we're talking about, Geno.
Okay.
And people need to admit it.
Okay.
I dropped the ball. I knew this person. People, we are dealing with it as women all the time. I don't know one woman who hasn't been sexually assaulted. I don't know one woman that hasn't been sexually assaulted. I don't know one woman.
Listen,
do you hear me?
My mother, like I said, allowed me to share that story. She had it happen to her twice. So I get that. But the only point I was trying to make, because nothing you heard back then, just in general conversation, even in Chicago, unless you were really in that world that he was raping anybody, you just heard he had a thing hanging out.
But guess what, Geno? You didn't have to be in that world.
Teenage.
The first woman to file charges against, to go to the police, she went to the police and they found stuff.
Now, listen,
you understand? And here we are 20 years later.
Now, all the society, many of us, Keela, can look back now in real time in 2021 and say, you know what? we collectively, we failed these women. Yes. But I'm just trying to put it in context. It's easy for everybody to be so self-critical of ourselves. And I'm just use that as an example. 25 years ago, that unless you really witnessed something or somebody who you were close to, and it's a shame. Yes, we failed. My God, listen, I don't have time to go down that rabbit hole, how we have failed black women and men in some cases. But just my mother was a victim twice. So we failed her. She didn't report it to anybody. Ask her why she didn't report it. She'll tell you women are doubted and not believed. So don't nobody get that more so than me as a man. But the only point that I was trying to make with Felicia, there are layers and there's levels to this. You can notice somebody is having an affair, or they like to date, they could be 25 and they like to date women, mess around with women 17 or 18. That's one thing. Kidnapping women, drugging women, raping women, that is a whole, no, I mean, they're not even in the same universe. Not at all.
To sum this up, it's a nightmare. R. Kelly's mother knew that he was being abused.
That's yeah.
And so
and we don't want to go.
Before we even get to the R. Kelly down the road, look at us.
Here's the point I'm trying to make: is that
your own mother knows you're being abused, and nothing's done. Your brothers know that you're being abused, and then they're being abused by your sister. So we're not talking. Forget about Bill Cosby and how it gets all the way up there. We down here on the ground floor, and we can't get it right.
Well, we can look back as a society. We have failed women. We have definitely failed black women. I've been on that soapbox. I've been on that soapbox as long as I've had a soapbox. But just to bring it back to Felicia Rashard, so here's the bottom line for me. Does she get a mulligan? Will people allow her to make a mistake? How should she atone? Does she need to go on Oprah? If you were the president of Howard, and should we just base it on money alone? Now I know money talks in this business, but some would argue to where if you're that outraged, it shouldn't be based on how much of a pain in the ass factor. If it's about principles and morals, it doesn't matter if you lose $10 million in donations or $1. If you're really on some kind of foundation, moral foundation, and principle foundation, then get rid of her. And if you do that, do you think there's another HBCU that would be like, Felicia, we understand, we know that.
No, that's not going to happen.
If you had a chance to do it again, you would have responded differently.
That's not going to happen. If Howard lets her go, she just needs to go back to her theater and operating the school that her mother and Debbie and all them. It's a wrap.
So you don't think any HBCU would give her? Okay, nope. Let's take it a step further. Maybe a HBCU wouldn't, but maybe the University of North Carolina. And the only reason I just threw the University of North Carolina out there is because, they had to basically, it was a different kind of controversy, but they was like, we saw the value in Nicole Hannah-Jones. In spite of you talking about backlash, all the racist backlash from big boosters. You talking about some big boosters now. University of North Carolina, look at their endowment annually, the kind of money that they're getting in and the kind of pushback they got from that level of donors in terms of political influence and wealth. But they realized like, Miss Jones, second thought, we are going to offer you that tenure position. So that's
Yeah, if Felicia stays, trust me, there are already office meetings, and the big office meeting hasn't happened yet because it takes them a couple days with
Yeah.
HR, with their public, the media department for the school, the lawyers, all that to get that together before they can even really approach her with a real conversation. When that conversation happens on Monday, which it'll probably be Monday because tomorrow, well, after the
Yeah,
holiday,
yeah, because the 4th is
right?
a lot of offices are closed Monday
Right.
because the
So
4th is on Sunday.
Tuesday,
Yeah.
when she gets called into the office, um, then they'll have a bigger conversation and decide if they're going to do some PR to fix this. Um, and see if it's within the realm of a PR campaign. If they feel like it's then got out of hand, depending on what happens over the next few days, Janet's comment did not help. It was like pouring gasoline on the fire because Felicia already started the fire. Janet's comment poured gas and it went whoosh. And when she ended with that, get an umbrella and prepare for the shit storm or shower, I was like, uh-oh, this is getting ready to get ugly. So depending on if it simmers down over the weekend, that will determine, and also the donor and alumni association and those responses. If they are being flooded with, they got a problem.
Right. But what if you get some powerful alumni? You get some Taraji P. Hensons and Diddy's who are HU alumni, and even though he didn't go to HU,
It doesn't matter the power. It's the donor. It's the donor factor.
So you don't think support from powerful? Now listen, and I don't know to what level
Geno,
Taraji.
it's a donor factor. How? Okay. Well, for instance, one P Diddy and his $300,000 is not going to stand up to the alumni association and their $10 million every year. They don't want to hear nothing from P Diddy if the alumni association is pissed, because that's a bigger, consistent a denomination of money that they can count on.
So P Diddy's 300, and we don't know the number, so we are just speculating here. But Taraji P. Henson and Diddy, and even somebody like Tyler Perry, who necessarily didn't go there, but we talk about folks that carry a lot of weight in the community and the culture, that say, okay, listen, she made a mistake, an honest mistake, and she apologized. She should be given, we should give her a second chance. We've given men who've made more egregious mistakes than that, second, third, and fourth chances. So why should a black woman be treated differently and handled with standards that men have not been held to? So I think it'll be interesting.
And Howard University will say, we all black women here and black men, it don't match up with our donor situation. She got to go. Yeah. So it's going to be about the money.
Yeah, because I guess my thing is, we just kind of taking different points of view. I say, let's not assume that some of these powerful donors don't support Felicia and
I just giving her a second chance. It's going to depend on the donor factor. Right. If the donors say we love her and we're going to keep giving, then she's got a job. If they say get this out of here, she don't.
It's going to be interesting to see. So, and she may just decide after that, you know what, I don't need to do this again, especially at this point. But I would still bet a gift card to your favorite restaurant up there in the deed at it. If worst case scenario and she has to resign, if she wants a position as a dean, I would bet you that gift card at your favorite restaurant that somebody would offer that. But we'll see.
Well, I'll plan on cooking because I won't be sitting. Drop mic. Good night.
Kelia Karson, the best. Man, what a great conversation. I enjoyed this. I'm sure we probably just like reenacted the conversation that if it hasn't already gone on, the debate and discussion between those powerful alumni and then those donors at Howard University. I'm sure that we did a pretty good example of reenacting what that conversation looks and sounds like. So thank you again, my sister. I love you. Simply the best. Have a great 4th of July weekend.
Yes.
All right.
Happy
Kelia Karson.
4th.
Thank you. Thanks, Key. Told you, Key's the best, guys. Great conversation. I love the point counterpoint, because there are many people who feel like Kelia, and then there are many people don't have the data, but just anecdotal, who are fans of Felicia, not just the actress, but the person, because she's done a lot of good work. And I know sometimes, it just takes one incident to kind of spoil all the goodwill that a person has accumulated over their career. So it'll be very interesting to see how that situation turns, because that seems to be an even greater debate than about Bill Cosby. I mean, we understand what happened. That was just a situation where some judges in a state Supreme Court felt that Bill Cosby, was done wrong, that he was offered a deal by a prosecutor in a civil case, and some prosecutors came back in a criminal case and basically ignored the deal that the prosecutor in the civil case made. And even though many question if that prosecutor in the civil case was even in a position to offer a deal, or if there's really a deal at all, since we haven't seen the paperwork or the signature on the deal. It's just another conversation. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life. As always, God bless each and every one of you. God, most of all, thank you for letting me do the Geno Jones Show live right here on my YouTube channel, Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe to the Geno Jones channel right here on YouTube. Tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, a special pre-4th of July Essence Festival versus battle on Versus and Triller. Bobby Beresford Brown. That's right, Bobby Brown versus Keith Sweat. I got to get ready to watch that. That's going to be hot. All right. Speaking of hot, it's hot all over the country. Please hydrate, be safe, stay cool if you can, do the best you can. Hydrate, drink plenty of water, and have a great, safe 4th of July. We'll have a special weekend review, pre-4th of July weekend jump-off edition. As a matter of fact, it's going to be music. I'm going to feature a couple hot new videos, actually, that you've probably seen. So I'm going to have a different kind of show. All right, everybody. I love each and every one of you. Mother, I love you more than life itself. Once again, thanks for watching, everybody. Shout out to Markale Bailey, the official barber and hairstylist for the Geno Jones Show. Check him out on Instagram, Kelby Cutting Up, KELBECUTTINUP. Bruce Gage, the official wardrobe stylist and consultant for the Geno Jones Show. You can do a search on Instagram, Bruce Gage. All right, everybody, I got to get out of here. I love you. I really do. Once again, in the meantime, until tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and be blessed.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.